Hey, everybody. Hope that each and every one of you are having an awesome and amazing day. I am over here trying something new. So, hold on one second. um, okay, I guess it went live. Hold on one second. Okay. Hope that each and every one of you are having an awesome and amazing day. I am Keisa Campbell, speaker, author, and coach to women who are ready to live a fulfilled life. And I wanted to come on here for a few reasons. I want to just take a moment to just tell y'all some things. I titled um, this video, Obedience is Key. And I am trying something new. So I don't know where I am being seen at because I am streaming across several platforms today. But however, I wanted to come on here because I just wrote a book called The Journey to Beautiful Living, 7 Pillars for Living a Fulfilled Life. And some may be wondering, like, what exactly is beautiful living? Beautiful living is whole life wellness. It's in every area of a woman's life. In some cases, I won't say men loosely because I have had men to purchase my book. Beautiful living is for everyone. I just happen to have love and compassion for women and wanting us to live our best life because we wear so many hats. Hats as a mother, hats as a wife, a hat as a divorcee, a aunt, a cousin, a daughter, and the list goes on and on. And in order for us to live this fulfilled life, in order for us to see the fullness of what God has for us, it's very important that we operate in obedience. And I'm sharing this because um, God had been telling me to leave my job for almost 10 years. And I didn't for many of reasons. First, I was married at the time. And my husband at the time was like, well, God didn't tell me that. So I didn't leave. After going through a divorce, the the calling for me to leave my job never left, right? So clearly in my mind, I'm like, well, Lord, I'm by myself. I still have this my daughter that's in high school, and I need to be able to provide for her and all this. And he was like, so I'm not your provider, but it was out of fear. And my thing was, I was already operating as a coach. I was already operating as a speaker. I was already operating as the things that I was doing outside of being a solo author. And I could not, I could not figure out why things wasn't moving the way I felt they should move, especially when I had been pouring out and pouring out and pouring out. And no matter how many coaches you get, no matter how many things you like, well, let me try it this way, let me try it that way. Until you decide to operate in hello and happy Wednesday to you, blessed in every area of my life. Until you decide to operate in what God has told you to do in obedience, you will find yourself on a hamster wheel of life and unfulfilled. And God told me to leave my job, y'all. I finally left. It's been a few months now. I didn't announce it. I haven't said nothing. This is my first time publicly speaking about me leaving and walking away from my job. It was all I knew for 28 years. 28 years of my life I had given to a company. And I won't say it was all in vain because I was able to raise my children when there were things that wasn't that I would just say I was able to be a great part of my children's life because I was working at a school system. And I so happened to put them in schools that I was affiliated with. And so I can go and have lunch with them during the day. I can go and sit in the classroom because I knew the schedules and be at their school and sitting in the back of the class when they walked in and had no idea that they was going to see their mama sitting in the back of the classroom. So it afforded me the opportunity to be able to be there for my girls. And a lot of women, a lot of moms may not ever be able to do that, right? Because of work and all the other things, they miss out on a lot. And so during that period of life, I was able to be there so my children can see that I was present and accounted for, right? And so outside of that, though, when I started to feel that tug on my life and kept hearing him say, "You will never get to where I will have you as long as you are here." And I'm saying this and sharing this because there are people under the sound of my voice who may not be watching this in this moment, but will come back and watch it later. God is calling you to do something, but because of fear, because of what you think somebody else is going to say, because of the opinions of other people, you're not moving. And that is disobedience. And in disobedience, you will never, ever experience the fullness of what God has for you. Immediately after I quit my job, with not knowing what was next, and I am the daughter who have asked 5011 questions. Okay, 5011 questions. Hey, Boomy, thank you for joining. 5011 questions. I've asked so many questions like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna quit, then what? Okay, Lord, what you have for me now, what? He just needs you to follow the first step. He needed me to just follow the first step. And in this first quarter of 2024, finally was obedient. I wrote my book. Well, I finished it because I wrote it last year, but it was never published. I finished the book, published the book, sold out, had speaking engagement, book launch, events. And I had to take a moment just to say, well, Lord, if all that happened in the first quarter of me just being obedient, I thank you for the journey that you're about to take me on. And we are missing out every day that we are operating in disobedience. And I'm only saying that because I was there. It almost took me 10 years. And it's sad to even say, but I prayed about it every time. And, I kept getting the same answer. So the question is, what is it that God is calling you to do? What has he asked you to do that you still haven't done? And why haven't you? And why haven't you done it? I started to realize that living in unfulfillment wasn't where I wanted to be. And I was at the job because um that was what paid my bills, right? But God has something so much greater in store. And so I came over here because I remember talking to a friend today, and we was talking about Psalms 23. And we was talking about how obedience is the key. And when we are obedient, she kept saying, "Sis, all I keep hearing is Psalm 23." And I thought about the Lord is my shepherd, he shall not want. He makes me lie down on green pastures. And when we think about the green pastures, I instantly started to think about how green the grass is, how the grass is so beautiful and green that you want to go and rub your toes. Like, it's that type of grass that you want to take your socks and your shoes off and just walk barefoot in the bare feet in the on the grass and sit and be one with it, with the nature. And she reminded me and said that green pastures is plush. And so operating in obedience, it will cause things to happen for you, cause things to happen for us when we are operating in obedience. And it was so funny that we had that conversation because I've been reading Experiencing God, and that was the chapter about obedience. And so I wanted to get on here and remind you guys that the journey to beautiful living is not a destination. It is it's a journey. And that's why the book is titled The Journey to Beautiful Living, because it is not an overnight thing. It is a journey in every area of your life. And so, what is it that you need to be obedient to? It may not be to leave your job. And I'm not telling people to go out and quit their jobs and be like, okay, Keisa said she quit her job, must been a sign. No, honey, if God didn't tell you to go quit your job, do not go and do it. I am not telling nobody to go quit their job. That has to be something between you and the Lord, okay? Because it took me a long time to finally say yes to what He has called me to do, which was to leave. And He made it very uncomfortable. And some of y'all are very uncomfortable in something. And I don't know what that something is. Only you know what that is. And that's because He's trying to get you to move, and you won't move. And the longer you stay there, the longer you're going to live in the space of where, let me put it this way. The quicker you be obedient, you get to live in what God has for you, because we don't know the day or the hour that God is going to call us home. We don't know the day or the hour, right? We don't know when. And if you only have 3 years left, wouldn't you want to live those next 3 years being in God's will versus the last year? Then you find out you only have 1 year left, and you was like, dang it, had I just left 3 years ago or did what He told me to do 3 years ago, how different my life could have been. I don't want nobody living in the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Make a decision to want something different, to operate in obedience and move forward in whatever He's calling you to do. Whether that's, and that all starts in your mindset. And I'm telling y'all, this was not an overnight thing. For me to just walk away from my job, I had been y'all there for 28 years, y'all. 28 years. 28, that's all I knew. I've been there since high school. I was at that place since high school, okay? That's all I knew. I got a job while I was in high school. They hired me permanent. I have never been nowhere else. I've been in different departments, but never nowhere else. And I walked away to follow, to be obedient and follow Him. And so, whether that's being obedient because you're saying you want to lose weight, you can't not lose weight if you ain't moving and doing what your body need, doing what you need, to do for your body to reach the goal. You can't, do whatever it is without some type of obedience. So what is it that you need to be obedient to reach whatever that goal is in your life? And it starts with the vision. And once you're able to get the vision, it starts with the vision and the mindset. Having the right mindset to want to go after whatever those things are. That's pillar number one, is mindset. And changing your mindset in order to reach the goal that you have for yourself. What is it? I was just reading some of these comments, y'all, because I'm across platforms and I don't know where these comments are coming from. But nevertheless, the whole point of me was coming in here just to say, to operate in obedience. That may be a relationship, right? It may be a relationship that you may be in, and God is telling you something different, and you're not doing what He's telling you to do, even in that relationship. It may be, it can be anything. I don't even want to go through all the examples. It can be anything. I'm throwing out different examples, but you have to apply what it is to your life. Take what I'm saying and apply it to whatever area that is that you need to be obedient in, so that you can start to walk in the fullness of whatever that is for you. That's beautiful living. And it is not a destination. It's not like, oh, okay, tomorrow I'll be living my beautiful life. Yes, every day you can choose to say, today is going to be a beautiful day. How do I want this to look? This is what I'm going to do. But just know that it's a journey. It is not, it's a journey every day to make a decision that today is going to be a beautiful day. Today I'm going to operate in my purpose. Today I'm going to spend time with the Lord. Today I'm going to do whatever it is that you deemed to have a beautiful life. Only you can define that. Only you can define what beautiful living looks like to you. Only you can define, and only you can know what God is calling you to do. And I am really just a vessel here telling you to operate in obedience. Whoever this is for, it is time for you to move in obedience. Whatever He is calling you to do, it is time for you to operate in obedience. Every day delayed is disobedience. And so I don't even want to get into that's a sin, but it is. It's a sin. And so, I don't even want to get there. So I'm not. That is all. If y'all have not purchased your book, The Journey to Beautiful Living, this book talks about embarking on a transformative journey to living a fulfilled life. What does a fulfilled life looks like to you? And so it means to live in purpose. It's in fulfillment. It's experiencing radiant joy, right? It's the intimate dance with your divine purpose and the harmonious connection with God and the commitment to nurturing the sacred temple within. That's beautiful living. It's not, it goes beyond the societal norms of what society said that you should be doing, what society says how you should be living. It is what you define beautiful living as, and it's what you um and what you need in this season of your life, right? And so the journey to beautiful living talks about 7 pillars to living a beautiful life. That's mindset, that's spiritual beauty, that's physical beauty, that's relational beauty, that's financial beauty, that's professional beauty, which is really your purpose. But that can be a career, it can be entrepreneurship, it can be whatever that is for you. Then we talk about outward beauty. But let me tell y'all something. And then that's a bonus pillar in here. You have to get the book, and there's a really, really good bonus pillar in here. Um, Let me tell y'all something about outward beauty. I left that almost last because as women, we tend to get dressed and we tend to show up as our best self, which we should. But we are a hot mess in the inside. And we are continuing to dress up the outer and haven't dealt with the inside of what we need to deal with. And that's why all those other pillars comes first, because it's important that we tackle our mindset first and make sure that we align our mindset with the positive affirmation, with positive thinking, not the negative stuff. How do you, negativity is going to come, negative thoughts are going to come, but how do you combat those things when they do, right? Having a spiritual relationship with the Lord, that is the foundation to everything. The one temple that we have in our body is the one temple that we have. How are you treating this one temple? How are you nourishing it? Are you taking care of it? Once I finish this, I'm going to go and walk, right? I'm going to go take a walk because that's something that my body needs. I need to remain active. I am not getting no younger, honey. And so I have to take care of this one temple to make sure that I do all I can to stay off medications, to stay off of, not to have all this, those things that causes not to be well, to take care of myself and nourishing the relationship with myself and the ones that I love. That's relational beauty. Professional beauty is your career. Whether that's a 9 to 5, whether it's a entrepreneurship. I am rooting for entrepreneurs in this season. I am rooting for women to start businesses, whether they have a 9 to 5 and they start off on the side. I think that every woman under the sound of my voice has a business in them somewhere, somehow. I don't care if it's just baking cakes, honey. You have a business inside of you. I do wholeheartedly believe that. I was laid off 3 times in 10 months. So you are speaking to me. Well, blessed in every area of your life. I love the tag, your handle. I am glad that you can resonate with this, because that means the Lord has something for you. And I want you to not be discouraged and just sit with him and see where it is that he will have you to be in this season. What is it that he wants you to do? What have you been annoying? He might already been talking to you, right? What is it that you need to be doing in this season of your life? And sometimes when you look at it like, laid off 3 times in 10 months. It's like, that's a redirection. So if God is redirecting you, what is he redirecting you to? Like for me, I kept applying for positions, and the last 1 or 2, I didn't even want to. I was threatened almost by a friend, was like, you better do it. You better do it. And I was like, I don't want to, because it was going to be writing on the wall if I didn't get it, because I already know what God was speaking to me. God told me it was time for me to go. And for shits and giggles, I did it. I applied and I did not get it, and they could not tell me why. When I said, why did I get this job when it was my work, when it was stuff off my desk, stuff I've been doing, why didn't I get that promotion? And the only thing they can tell me was, I don't know. And so I had to look beyond I don't know and see what God was doing. And God, that was a redirection. He was like, I told you it's time for you to go. I am not promoting you. You will not be promoted here. It's time for you to go. And so when I'm sitting here listening to you, my purpose is to help fathers and daughters. Well, there you go. Send me a message so we can talk. But yes, and so I'm glad you already know what your purpose is. I hope that you are taking steps to put things in place so that way that you can move in that, because I don't know what you plan to do um, with the daughters who don't have fathers, but if you already know, I'm sure that he's already downloading something to you, and for you to activate that what it is he's asking you to do. I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and I have started my own business as well. Oh, that's good. Congrats to you. And so yeah, I just wanted to come on here because obedience is key. And when things happen in our lives, I look at them as life detours. And it's not that he loves us enough to detour us into the places and spaces that he need us to be. And sometimes, a lot of times, most times, all the times, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to be in that space. But when you know that God is calling you, when you know that you are operating in the obedience of what he's calling you to do, all you have to do is move forward and take the first step, and he's going to take the next. And you know, they people say faith without works is dead. In my devotion this morning, it said faith, it's right here, faith that does not obey in action is dead. And I actually highlighted that because it's the action piece of everything that we need to do in order to say we say we have faith in all these things, but how are we showing faith? You know, are we stagnant? Are we moving forward? And I'm saying these things because I had been doing things and saying, Lord, I'm doing these things, but I wasn't doing what he told me to do. He told me to leave. And that was the key. It was in that obedience, and that was the key for me. And so I am excited for you, blessed in every area of your life, of my life. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what God has in store for you. I am excited because when he put up a block to detour you, that means there is something great. There is something exciting. There is something that only you can fulfill. And so I'm glad that you've already started your YouTube channel. I'm glad you've already started your business. I am so excited for what he has for you. And just know that continue to sit with him and ask him for guidance and ask him for wisdom, so you won't be operating in your own power, but in the power of the Lord. And so I thank you for sharing that. And so without holding you all any longer, I really came on here because all day today, only thing I kept hearing is obedience is key. And I wanted to share that with somebody, that obedience is key, and to share with you all that I really had okay. I really wanted to share with you all that it took me a long time, really. It really did. It really did take me a long time to get to this point where I walked away in obedience from a place that I call a job, job, for 28 years of my life, not knowing what to expect on the other side. But if you were just joining me, I did share that the moment that I left the job is when this book, The Journey to Beautiful Living, 7 Pillars for Living a Fulfilled Life, was finally published. It was written last year. It's been sitting. My aunt passed. I just left it there. I didn't feel like, I just didn't do nothing with it. And as soon as I left, I was like, oh, God reminded me, now the book. Okay, Lord, let me get this book out. And I appreciate everyone who has supported it. I see all the DMs, all the pictures. I just got a picture today. Also, one showing me that they got their book that I'll be posting later on today. This is not just for me. Beautiful living is for everybody. And I talk a lot about the journey. And the journey for me was a lot of different areas of my life. I talk about the divorce journey. I talk about the journey of being a wife. I was a wife for 19 and a half years. I talk about the journey of being a teen mom at the age of 14. I talk about the journey of being of health issues, because as a woman, we tend to wear so many hats. And my friends had deemed me superwoman, and I indeed carried that title so hard that I knocked my hormones completely out of whack and was down for 2 months and couldn't even hear my kid's voice. I talk about the realness of life, but also how I overcame that and how you can overcome those things too. And I talk about a whole lot more, even how we show up as well dressed for what God is calling us to do in this season of life, right? In our seasons of life. And so, yes, God want us to be the head. Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. And so I just wanted to get on here and encourage you that operating in obedience isn't always easy, but it's necessary. And I couldn't go another day, guys. I could not go another day without being obedient, because I started to feel convicted every day. I started to cry. It was a lot of days that I cried because I wanted to be in the right standing with God and when He was telling me, but I was just so afraid. And let me share y'all this one last thing, y'all, and then I'm jumping off here. I always had been afraid of dogs. And last year I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, I don't want to be afraid of dogs anymore. I do not want to be afraid of dogs anymore. And do you know, when it's time for you to overcome something that God, that you say that you don't want, I don't want to be afraid of dogs. So what God did, He put me in position where I was around dogs all last year. And He said, how else are you going to overcome the fear if I don't put you around the dogs to overcome the fear? And so for 2023, for 2023, I literally was placed in the presence of so many dogs that I overcame my fear of dogs. And the two biggest ones that I had at one time was two Great Danes and a small dog. So I was in the presence of three dogs at one time. And I started taking pictures. I started taking pictures of every time I was in the presence, every time I conquered it, every time if they were at my feet, and I would send them to my children because I wanted them to see that was a fear, but I was working through those things. And I'm sharing this because that was a step that I needed to take in order to work through the fear of me leaving my job. I had to learn how to overcome fear in other areas of my life to know that I can conquer and I can do what God has called me to do, which was really stepping out into the unknown and me really taking that step and really saying, Lord, I don't want to be fear of dogs. It was bigger than just the fear of the dogs. It was bigger than that. It was me learning to overcome other fears in my life. And that's what really made me pull the trigger. And I'm gonna tell y'all more about um okay, it's like God is telling me to say it now. So the day that I decided to leave my job and say, okay, I'm gonna do it, my kids already knew. I had been sharing it with them. They kept saying, well, Mom, if the Lord told you to do this, this is what you need to do. My baby girl, on the other hand, was like, you should have did it a long time ago. Okay. I don't know what took you so long, but you should have been done it, right? And I was just like, okay, well, don't be coming to ask me for nothing. And I'd be like, remember you told me I should have been quit my job? I can't help you with that. And so we kind of laughed about it. And I remember this particular day, I was in the kitchen with her and her boyfriend was over. And I asked the boyfriend, and I said, what would you do if God, tell you to do something? I didn't know she had shared it with him. So he said, well, if God told you to do something, you need to just do it. He said, but in your case, God ain't telling you just to do. He's telling you to take a leap, jump, fly. He said, it's major. And I started laughing. I said, yeah, you're right. And then they said to me, do you want us to come and do it for you? And I said, no, I thank y'all, but this is something I have to do on my own. And I'm sharing this is because it wasn't just like, okay, God told me to quit my job and I just did it. And even after I made a decision that I was going to do it, it still took me time to follow it all the way through. And so that particular night, I came upstairs and I was on the phone with a friend, and I was sharing with him like just saying I don't know. He's like, you just got to do it. And so I was like, I got to get my kids. So I called my kids and I had them standing around me, and um, I told them I needed them for support. And when I tell y'all that I closed my eyes, tears rolled down my eyes because I was so afraid. I was so scared. I was so afraid that I got a double screen over here. I see now. I can see it. I see all the platforms. I was so afraid, guys, that my daughter said, Mom, you didn't click on it, because it's not a just write a 2-week notice. We had to go into a system and say, hey, I'm leaving here. And it says on this big screen, warning. So it's already intimidating, right? And so she said, you didn't click on it. You right clicked on the mouse. You did not left click on the mouse, right? And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I closed my eyes again. She said, now move your hand over, son. Move your hand over. I moved my hand over, and her boyfriend standing next to me. My other daughter is on FaceTime with her boyfriend with me. Like, I have all these people on FaceTime rooting me on. And I clicked the button, and she says, you have an error message, Mom. So I was like, okay, Lord, see, I finally did it. I got an error message. I must didn't hear you right. Oh, okay. I tried. I ain't gonna tell you I ain't gonna try again. But right now, I'm good for the night. And then he was like, I said, no, let me keep doing it. So I kept clicking and I kept getting the error message. And I said, see, I tried it. I was trying to operate in obedience. Finally, it took me a long time, but I cannot. And so I'll just get to work and I'll tell them about this later, but I ain't telling you I'm coming back to this computer and do this again, because this took all I had. This took all I had in me to click this button to say I'm leaving this job. And I get to work the next day around noon, a little before noon, and somebody calls my name like 2 hours after I'm sitting at my desk, and they call me by my whole name. They was like, Keisa Campbell. And I was like, why you call my name like that? So I go see what they want, and they say, you did it. I said, I did what? They said, you quit the job. And I was like, girl, no, I ain't quit the job. This is how I whispered. I said, I tried to, but I got an error message. Y'all wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. She said, well, your job already posted. My job was already posted. I got an error message that told me that it didn't go through. I actually had a SQL message with all this gibberish on my computer. And I had no idea. I had no idea that it went through. So what God did was, he said, you took the first step, and I know I saw you. I saw you, and I'm not going to put you back through that again. So I'm going to do the supernatural thing, and I'm going to make this thing go through. So it's not what I saw, right? And so sometimes we can't see it, and I didn't see it. I did not see it at all, because I had said to myself, I ain't going to talk to them about them error messages. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to just, Lord, you want to give me a few days. Then I'll revisit this in a minute. I got to get my whole center back, because I tried to do what you told me to do, and maybe I didn't do it when you told me. So now I need to wait. But I know you keep telling me, so I don't know what that's all about. And then I go into the office to talk to the director. It was like, hey, she's like, oh, I see that you did it. You did it. And I was like, yeah. And I see that my job is posted. Yeah, you had mentioned to me that you was leaving, and so blah, 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 but had never said anything to me. Don't walk past me 5 times. I was on that job for 28 years, not in that department, but I was in that department for a long time. And you don't walk past me 5 times and ain't said nothing. And I'm sharing this with you is because when God is telling you to do something, that was confirmation, for one, that I had did what I needed to do, because them jobs will replace you in a heartbeat in this business. So they need to go on. But they had never posted a job that soon. Never. And it just let me know that I was doing what I needed to do, and that God has something so great on this side. And I'm just ready to experience it all. So what is it that God is calling you to do? I'm glad this is a confirmation for you, blessed in every area of my life. What is he calling you to do? What is he asking you to move forward in obedience to? Only you can answer that. The journey to beautiful living is going to have a lot of turns, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of detours. But along the ride, It's still beautiful. As long as you are able to learn, grow, and continue to grow and continue to say yes and have a servitude heart, because we are all here, no matter what you do in life, we are all here to serve. You just have to figure out the who and the how. That is all I have to say. Obedience is key. And as Psalms 23 says, that those green pastures on the other side, they say the grass ain't always greener, but in this case, the grass is always greener, according to Psalms 23. So I want you all to have an awesome and amazing rest of your day. Thank you all for joining me. To get your copy of The Journey to Beautiful Living, you can find it at Keisa Campbell. That's Keisa Campbell.com/shop. It is also available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart. You are so welcome. To reach me, you can DM me, or you can email me at info@KeisaCampbell.com. I look forward to speaking to you soon. And until next time, know that beautiful living awaits you.